you're fucking flying drugs in an airplane, you're the real deal, period. You're not some just fucking retard, you know? This is about smuggling marijuana across the Canadian border in the late 90s. So, the last time I left off, we had just gotten rousted at the border. They had to let us go. I've got this other crew that I've known about for a while. And they've been smuggling stuff with boats. And I jump on board with them, paying them to do my loads for me. So, in the beginning, it was the boats, right? And I can't remember where the hell the boat dock was on this side. Oh, on that side, it was in Victoria on Vancouver Island. Nice little town, you know. I was stuck there quite a bit. I'd eat and walk around. A nice little Italian restaurant that I was quite frequent at. So the way it worked was, I think the first time actually, I wasn't worried about going up. So even though that I had gotten busted, we smuggled our own money up and went and bought everything, and then I gave it to the crew or rode with. I think the first time I just gave it to him up there and then just picked it up back from him, right? But after doing it a couple times, me and Cedar were going back and forth, and then we were using this crew, but I was doing all the legwork. I was going up there and buying everything and putting everything together. But then I think I already told that, pretty sure I already told that story about when I got busted coming back from Canada, and I told the whole repercussions of that. So then one of the repercussions of that was that I wasn't able to travel back and forth the way I was, which I was just flying on planes or driving up or whatever. No, I was flying on planes, like commercial planes. And after a hot second, dragging that much money is a bitch. And then all my luggage and everything, it was ridiculous. So I was flying, and I flew for a while. And then that whole bus thing happened. Then I was on pretrial release for the feds. And so at that point, I had to basically smuggle myself. Well, I had to be smuggled. I wasn't smuggling myself. I was just going with this other crew, which was pretty much my crew now because I was doing massive buying for them. The boats were okay, but these dudes that we were working with, like this one older dude, like the main dude, I don't remember his name. He's dead now. He died in prison thanks to a snitch. For weed. He died in prison for fucking weed. But, like, this dude, like, they used to tell stories like these guys were all from Alaska. And so they were, like, up in Alaska, and you fly in Alaska is like driving a car almost. A lot of people never even learn how to fucking drive a car but fly planes. I shouldn't say a lot of people. I should say some people. So, being a freaking pilot in Alaska, driving cars, anyway, he had this old dude had this crazy story about, like, he had some business where he was flying fish from Alaska to the continent, to down south, you know, like the main 48. And the plane crashed, and he lost, like, insane money, right? So he had to go into cocaine smuggling. I mean, he was talking about, you know, decades ago or whatever. I'm not even sure if, I think he might have gotten busted in some sort of cocaine deal and done some time or whatever, but he was an old dude. He was like in his 60s, but he wasn't the pilot. He was just the boss. The pilot, one of the pilots, the main pilot that I spent most of the time with, he was from Alaska. You know, you would never think he was a smuggler by looking at him, which those are the best smugglers. You look at me and you're like, that guy's up to something. But, you know, that was my that was my fucking platinum card in the counterculture in the 90s. It was like, yeah, that dude, he's cool. He knows what's going on, and he's got it going on, and it was just, there was no, still to this day, I've never ratted on anybody. My fucking street cred is fucking solid gold. People may or may not like me, but there ain't nobody out there shit talking me for being a piece of shit. So I don't owe anybody any money. I never ratted on anybody. I may have fucking knocked some people out over the years, but they deserve it. So fuck them. And I don't really give a shit. So, and I with this pilot dude, you know, he was a freaking nice guy, and we spent fucking hours. I think the flight was like 3.5 hours, if I remember correctly. I don't know. You know, it depends on when and all kinds of shit. We were just VFR flight. We were not doing IFR flights. So we were always paying attention to the weather, and, you know, it was hectic for when it was clear, and then it was, you know, shit was fucked when it wasn't. Then we'd look at boats, but then, I mean, you know, if it's bad weather, it's bad weather. When you're talking about crossing the fucking ocean, you know, the little boats that we were using. Anyway, the system was we would take vacuum seal every pound. Sometimes maybe a couple pounds, sometimes maybe just like quarter pounds or whatever. So they would get vacuum sealed into vacuum seal bags. Then those bags would be put into dry bags. Those river rafting big dry bags. You fold them at the top and buckle them on the sides, right? Okay, well those look really effing weird, right? So then those would go in fucking duffel bags. Giant hockey bags, right? Very expensive. Adds money to the cost. But, you know, it was safety. Because you really couldn't smell shit through that system. But the system did have a flaw when we were flying. Can you guess what that is? Go ahead and pause the video now and go down in the comment section and comment and see if you can guess right what the problem is going to be. I'll hold on a second. Okay. When you vacuum seal shit or whatever at one place in the atmosphere, and then you move that shit to a different place in the atmosphere, things change, right? So you got these little bags that you vacuum sealed, obviously bigger than this, but you understand what I'm saying. Now, you go up in an airplane. We did not have a pressurized airplane. We just had a twin engine, 6-seater with all the seats except the front 2 pulled out, and we'd pack about 500 pounds in there. Well, you know, there's this thing called atmospheric conditions, right? So one day everything's fine, the next day not so much. So we're in the plane, we got the load, you know, we're flying back, and the situation is this. We go over mountain passes, right? So there's mountain here, mountain there. You know, you go in between them. You don't fly over the big, huge effing mountains in these little planes. You fly between them, right? Okay, cool, we're flying between them. Well, what happens is, this is an old airplane, probably from the 60s. And, I mean, but here's the difference between airplanes and every other fucking thing, right? Airplanes are the one thing in this world, maybe there's another, leave it in the comments section below if you know what it is, maybe a Rolex or some shit, An airplane's the one thing that's built without product obsolescence. Planes are not built to fail. Plane engines are not meant to fucking die at a certain point. All that shit is true with every automobile ever built, okay? Huge difference between airplanes and every other fucking machine post 1950s-ish, okay? Believe you me, they can build shit that will not break. If you don't believe me, duck, go how many flights there are every day on this planet, right? Relatively few crashes. Safest fucking form of transportation. Why is it the safest form of transportation? Because there's no product obsolescence in the manufacturing process. Okay, so the plane was from the 60s, and great little plane. We had two of them actually, pretty much identical. I think we got a third right before I got busted, if I remember correctly. But anyway, we're going over these mountain passes, and we need to climb. We don't just fly at that height the whole time. You basically fly as low as you pretty much can for VFR, which VFR is visual flight rules, IFR is instrument flight rules. So if it's cloudy and you can't see shit, you have to have a special license to be able to fly a plane by the instrument panel without being able to see the fucking ground, okay? Yeah, we weren't on that level. We were on we can see the ground, we can fly. If it's gonna be clear weather, we're fine. So, and we were using some like spoofing tricks or something. When I say spoofing tricks, that's a pretty modern term for like internet shit. I don't know exactly what it was called, but basically there's airports where there's no buddy on duty, and you can just sign into them through some kind of situation, and then like you're registered there, right? So it doesn't look like you're just flying up to Canada and back, basically. Like you're just popping your location, and we wouldn't fly just straight, we'd fly. So we're crossing this mountain range, which was probably, this guy was a pro, man. He was a freaking pro as it gets. When you're fucking flying drugs in an airplane, you're the real deal, period. You're not some just fucking retard, At least in the 90s, right? I mean, maybe there was, I'm sure back in the fucking day, and the OG as it was days, it just was easy. But there was fucking hoops. This was the fucking middle of the drug war, man. These fuckers were not just, rolling over. So there was actual fucking precautions that were being taken on this situation. So we're going up over this pass, and the vacuum sealed bags are expanding at such a rate. They're pushing on the backs of the chairs, pushing us forwards into the yoke of the plane. You understand? You're trying to go up, you got to pull back. The higher you go up, the more the bags are pushing on the seats, pushing you forwards, but you got to pull back. Yeah. Scary shit, man. Obviously, we made it, duh. I mean, it wasn't like our wheels were hitting through trees or nothing like that. I mean, but, when they make the movie, feel free to do that, because that would definitely be exciting. But, when you're flying, that fucking, dude, it's just nerve-wracking on the next level. It's like, oh shit, are we gonna make it? And you're just like, the most uncomfortable position, like, you got this fucking thing just I'm not the fucking pilot, but there's pilot shit on both sides of the fucking plane. And taking off and landing is where all the fucking skill comes in navigating, right? So I was flying the fucking plane, quite frequently, because why not? I mean, it's, fuck, I'm not an idiot. That's pretty much, I wasn't landing and taking off. So I'm in the same situation as a pilot is. I mean, I got the same shit he does there. I'm like cranked up in my chest, and it was, that only happened once. But, it was one of those situations that sure did make me feel okay with the amount of profit that I was making. Because I was straight up risking my motherfucking life. And yeah, but I'm here to tell about it. All right, thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, go over to my Patreon and become a super supporter over there.